season. It is new year, new season, same content. I'm Kay, and if you don't know me, I'm a tournament host and also a staff member of Courses, and I help run Full Circle. I'm joined here by Dio and iFlame. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Dio. I do a lot of OSU stuff, but mostly I host tournaments and commentate tournaments.
I'm iFlame. I used to do a bunch of tournament stuff. Now I pretty much do commentary, and I'm washed up at everything else.
All right. So we're going to be starting off this 2024 season with three-digit World Cup, and my, these qualifier results were quite something. If we can transition to that, it's definitely been an interesting year. We have seed number 1 South Korea. Like, who would have expected otherwise, might I say?
Yeah, very strong team. Obviously, worst HR player is the notable one, has been one of the stars for South Korea in the World Cup, is eligible for 3WC. So that alone makes South Korea terrifying. But then, of course, you've got half of the OWC roster otherwise, and it's tough to beat them for first seed. I think they had 2 maps in qualifiers where they weren't first place on them. It was a dominant performance.
Yeah, and I think a lot of attention is going to go to, of course, players like worst HR player, Amamiya Kokoro, Doomsday Fanboy making his comeback, Alec Grisimo being here, Zhang Wuyong is also like pretty well known as a tournament player, right? I think the one big question mark for a lot of people was Fragrance of Page on this roster. And Fragrance of Page ended up being the number 11 overall performer in qualifiers. Number 1 was worst HR player. Number 8 was Amamiya Kokoro. And the rest of the top 10 was dominated by basically the star players of every other top team. So to be number 11 is to be above players like Bartek, players like Kurochi, players like Dito, right? This was players like Taquito as well. So Fragrance of Page putting up a lot of really solid scores, had 7 scores counted in the qualifier run and averaged 800K. So pretty solid run overall for kind of the biggest unknown factor in this roster.
Yeah, I think that South Korea, showing their dominance, especially during OWC, and much of their 3WC roster, shares the same players. So I think that attributes a lot of their success from that. Moving on to the second seed, the United States. Um, so South Korea got 100 points, right? The United States landed up with 82. So if that just shows the sheer disparity, I guess, between the teams, I don't know what will.
Yeah, one other thing to talk about with these two teams, when we did a prediction stream for the overall tournament on the 3WC stream, was Chill Your Pair, Shiv, Shiba, and I. All 4 of us put South Korea, United States as the top 2, and basically all of us were in agreement South Korea would be the number 1 team out of the tournament. The United States is still second seed in qualifiers, and yeah, 100 to 82 is a pretty big difference, but the dominance of top 2 isn't really contested, especially when you consider the 2 maps that South Korea was not number 1 in qualifiers were both top scored by the United States. So if it wasn't South Korea top scoring a map, it was the United States. Those are the only 2 teams with any number 1s in qualifiers whatsoever, which is really rare for it to be spread only between 2 teams.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you have a roster full of mostly OWC players, aside from Razor Suit, Razor Fruit, and Tallulah. Well, actually, Decatur as well, but we don't need to go over that again. It's a very clear top 2 this year. I expect these 2 teams are going to be the last 2 teams in finals for sure. I don't expect a lot of teams are going to be able to have close matches with them because there's a bit of a drop off. I mean, even just in terms of qualifier performance score in that third place, which is Hong Kong. I'm sure we'll talk about them in a second, but it was a nearly 20-point difference between first and second, nearly 10 points between second and third, and then after that, it was a much more gradual decline with 2 to 3 points between teams. But these 2 teams are going to be far and away the best this year.
Yeah, I mean, they're They're going up against pretty easy matchups, and of course, we'll see them go up against each other if the seeding works out that way in bracket. We'll see them against each other in finals, and I think it's going to be an interesting matchup, regardless, because again, we had seen them go against each other in OWC. Um, Moving on to a seed that I didn't really expect to, or sorry, a country that I didn't really expect to be seeded where they had is the Russian Federation. They had seeded seventh overall. Now, don't get me wrong, Germany, Philippines, and Russia had all seeded fairly close to each other, but I still had expected Russia to seed a little bit higher, I'm not gonna lie, especially with the roster that they had.
Yeah, the combined kind of expectation for this team was top 6 in the tournament, so 7th seed isn't too far off of that. I think a couple of other performances kind of influenced that seeding a little bit. Of course, Germany performing really well. I think only one of us, Chill Your Pair, had Germany top 6 in the prediction stream. So Germany definitely performing, I think, a little bit above expectations. And kind of makes sense for their roster. A lot of the players that you expect to do really well in the OS World Cup for Germany are not playing 3WC. It was kind of the Kriller one-man carry show for Germany, playing all 10 maps and averaging 800k. So Russia had more competition than I think we expected, and despite getting 2 players into top 10 overall performance in Skral and Dasuk, some of their other members weren't able to bring up the average score quite enough to get into that top 6.
I can't say I'm super surprised with their placement. I mean, I wasn't on the prediction stream, but I would have had them 6th, maybe 7th. You look at the teams around them, Germany is probably the one team that I may have expected to be lower, but Kriller can take that team very, very far on his own. And then you look at Hong Kong, who have traditionally been an incredibly strong team with Suwagi. No surprises there. But even Philippines, right? We've seen Hyok and both Nathan Ram pop off very hard in OWC, and they didn't have the roster to really compete for that long in OWC. But in 3WC, those two are some of the best. I think they had very good performance scores this year. Yeah, Hyok was number 2 overall individually. And so while I do think the top, 6 to 8 are very close in seeding, Russia is seeded about where I'd expect them to finish overall in the tournament.
Yeah, and I
Can
think a
we can we
lot of
talk about Russia
us.
though? This one roster thing. Can we talk about an imposter on this Russian roster? Sigi? Sigi, my brother in Christ, what are you doing on there? Okay, according to him, the story is that had China not gotten enough players, um, Sigi would have essentially been coupled with them because it was, I believe, David and someone else who had only 2 at the
Yep.
time, but then they had decided to get the full 3-man roster and played like that. So apparently the story is that because Mongolia borders both Russia and China, Sugi had the choice to choose which country he wanted to be part of, and obviously he chose Russia. And I I didn't even know Sugi could read Cyrillic.
Yeah, I mean they use Cyrillic in Mongolia for a lot of the language there. I don't know. I think it's a better. Let's put it this way. In past years, 3WC has had different variations on country list teams. I think
Yeah.
this sort of solution is better than filing everyone who couldn't make a team into multiple country list teams, because that just completely screws with the time zones. At least this way, you get teams that are all in the same time zone, and it kind of works out a lot better for a country-based tournament scheduling. So I think, um, regardless of team balancing or whatever, I think it works pretty well for a country-based tournament, or at least better than countryless did, because that was like
Yeah,
tri-continent teams in a country-based tournament.
that was 15 UTC the experience in 3WC.
Yeah.
That was insane. But I just think it's hilarious that Sigi is on a team full of Russians. But also, I mean, Sigi is a great player. And I was pretty surprised. Actually, I had refed the Russian qualifiers lobby and I saw Sigi join, and I really had to think for a second of what of what this was, 'cause I had not checked the team list prior, and I'm like, Sigi, what the hell are you doing here? And he's like, no, I'm on the Russian team. And I was like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah.
um let's okay, can we talk about the number 4 seeded? We're gonna hop around here, but let's go to Brazil. Now, Korean I know, Dio, you're fucking excited for this because Korean Maliko's your goat.
Yeah, I mean, Brazil's placement is. We talked about this a lot during the prediction stream, right, on the 3WC channel. Is Brazil is a team that can completely dependent on the year. Doesn't matter what the roster is. Doesn't matter who's signed up and who's not. They have equal chances of DNQ and top 3. Like they have so much variance to their team performance year over year in 3WC that it's nearly impossible to predict before the tournament starts and you see what the motivation levels are for the team, where they'll actually end up. So I'm not even sure if high qualifier now, according to the members, right, according to people like Zubs and people actually on the team, the motivation for the squad this year is actually pretty high, and so hopefully we'll see a really good Brazilian team this year, and the qualifiers kind of make you expect to see that throughout the tournament. So I'm looking forward to seeing what motivated Brazil can do with a pretty solid roster, right? They've had Mousiezy in the past, but Mousiezy is really not a tournament player and hasn't been for several years. So I think a roster like this that brings a lot of their best recent tournament players alongside Nissan and Mistia, who are some of their best old tournament players, should be pretty good to watch.
Yeah, I'm sure they seeded a lot of people, seeded a lot higher than some people expected. They just have such a strong core. I think we've seen Korean Maluko and Defons both improve since last year. And then, of course, you've got Subs, Misty, who are very strong as well. And I think they're going to be a really scary team in the early rounds. I don't feel like they're a team that should get upset, especially if they're motivated this year. I do think they're going to have a tough time breaking into that top 3 along with Hong Kong, but if they are playing well, and if they don't get outscaled by the pool, they could put up a good fight with Hong Kong. So we'll see.
I don't know. Like it's been a while since I've seen such a I guess I don't know. Cuz who was it? Nissan didn't play OWC, right? He was map pooling.
Yes.
So the only time that these people would actually play together would be 3WC in a World Cup situation. So I think it's, at least compared to last year, I'm pretty excited to see what this roster holds. I kind of want to talk about Canada because they had seeded the exact same seed as they did in OWC, and that was when two unnamed players had played at TwitchCon, which had landed them in a very unfortunate bracket-destroying seed. Um,
Yeah, unfortunately, they don't have that same excuse this time around. They don't have 2 players to play from their homes, next week and de-seed all the other teams ahead of them. But I think they could definitely place higher than their seed if they're playing well. But I think they're seeded fairly close to what most people expected. You don't have a lot of the OWC players for Canada. Actually, I'm not sure. I think there might be 1 or
I
2,
think
if I'm
I
remembering
Evo is
think
the
there are
correctly.
only.
0 actually. There
Wait,
are
really? Oh
0.
shit!
Yeah, no, 0 OWC players from this year for Canada
From
here.
this year, yeah.
Sari has played OWC in the past, but
Yeah.
she was on the map pooling team. And Vinopoly, I don't was not on the team this year for Canada, if memory serves. So yeah, no OWC players from this year for Canada, and that, I mean, paints a very different story of what you expect from the team, right? A lot of these teams in 3-digit World Cup, well, 3-digit is included in the OS World Cup, so you expect to see a lot of OWC players in this tournament. Canada having none of them means that this is a roster that is going to struggle in comparison to the quality of players from a lot of the other teams and in comparison to what you expect of them in the World Cup, where they're, as of recent, a top 16 year over year, right? Canada has always struggled in 3-digit World Cup, and I think a large part of that is that their best players are all 2-digit. Right, you have players like Ryuke, Zuninator, Xylus. All of them are 2-digit or have been top 10 at some point. Right, you have other really good OWC players who are either no motivation or don't really play tons of tournaments, like Curtis or Stoof, especially, who just doesn't play a lot of tournaments through the year. So you just don't get the same really strong players on Canada's OWC or on 3WC roster than on 3WC. Um, I think a couple of other like interesting placements. Oh, we have to talk about the prediction stream, by the way. We got 15 of 16 placements generally
Okay.
in the top 16. There was
Okay.
one single team that did not qualify that we thought would, and that was Oceania, the
Yeah,
Oh,
Australia New
shocker.
Zealand
no.
combo
Yeah,
roster.
Italy had qualified, right?
Or no,
Over
it was
Oceania.
Italy we expected to qualify. It was Chile we had
Oh,
as not
interesting.
qualifying, who qualified over Oceania. I think in large part to a really good performance from Suntan, who was number 14 overall in the qualifiers.
Oh yeah, dude. That I'm gonna be real honest. Looking at the Chilean roster for 3WC this year, I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna really butcher this pronoun. Juifty? I guess.
Gifty? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Close enough.
yeah. But I don't know who that, but Gonza and especially Unha have been like we've seen them in 3WC and 4WC before. So I kind of expected them to be like your typical core. And of course, Suntan really showed his stuff during OWC or last year. And when I saw him on the 3WC roster, I was like, "Yep, this dude's gonna do great things." Yukari Smug actually has been kind of known as if I remember correctly amongst like the 4-digit scene, so seeing him kind of rank up to 3-digit and maybe make some presence in there might come out to something, and clearly it did because they had seeded 15th.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel like. Oh, go
go
ahead.
ahead, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I feel like Chile is a team that could potentially outplace their seeding just because they do seem like they would be fairly consistent in the early rounds. They have some strong skill sets. Um, Probably going to be looking towards something like the hidden picks, but I do feel like they'll struggle early rounds, but it is impressive that they qualified nonetheless. It's definitely one of those borderline rosters. They're of course missing, players like TFGE who tend to be some of the stronger Chilean players. Actually, I'm not sure if TFGE is still 3-digit, but would have
I
been a
believe
big
he
addition
is.
for them. That would have boosted them a lot.
The one thing for Chile, actually, Gifty, their kind of unknown player, did not play in the qualifiers. The two biggest contributors for them were Gonza and Suntan, and everyone else was like 100 or below for them. So for them to get some good early round performances out of this roster, it's going to be up to some of the other members to step up, right? 100 or lower is kind of averaging 400K ish generally. So you can't average that kind of thing on the quarterfinals pool, right, in losers bracket round one and expect to win. So I think it's going to be up to a lot of the other members to step up to the plate and improve those performances if Chile does want to take a match win and not exit just top 16 as a qualifying team this year. So that'll be interesting to watch if we can see some of that happen, especially from a more veteran member like Yuna or some of the newer members like Nikore, Yukari Smug, Gifty.
Yeah, I think Yuna is going to be the big one for me. If Yuna can step up, they can definitely make it through at least a couple rounds in this tournament. Uh, but it's going to be a big if. And it also is going to depend on the bracket, right? Like, I don't know what their matchups look like, but they could potentially just roll into a hard matchup and go out top 16.
Yeah.
So,
A couple quick shouts because I know we want to get into match predictions relatively soon here. France is a team that we predicted pretty much ubiquitously to be top 12. They seeded 14th in qualifiers, below Poland and Indonesia, who we both predicted just qualifying. Poland actually seeding top 12, so congrats to them. Finland, we pretty much all predicted just top 16, except for Shiba, who had them top 12, and they qualified ninth. So Poland and Finland kind of upsetting a couple of the teams that we may have predicted to be in top 12. The other top 12 team that was knocked down by Poland and Finland is actually seed 16. It's Italy. Italy always has a small roster in three-digit World Cup, and that usually doesn't matter because the caliber of their players is still really good. The OS World Cup this year, right? They did not have a full roster. They still managed to put up really, really good scores on lots of different maps. They're running with 4 players again here in three-digit World Cup when they could have up to 6. The roster is Kirochi, Arancino, Ruscio, and Arge. But that roster is missing the third core member from OWC and Shadow Modico, also known as Dem27. So them qualifying a bit lower, I think, is expected. I'm still expecting them to be able to take a win in quarterfinals, losers bracket round 1, just because of the strength of the 2-person core from Kirochi and Arge. But we'll have to see if that is enough versus be either Finland or Sweden that they're facing in losers bracket round 1.
Yeah, I think it'll depend on
Yeah.
the pool as well. I could definitely see them taking that kind of first round of losers if Kurochi and Arch play well. But I think they both have, very clear skill sets. I don't think neither of them, I mean, they're both pretty well rounded. But Kurochi definitely is much stronger on aim, for example. So if we do see a pool that's a little bit more heavy on the aim, Italy has a really good chance. Or if we see a pool that's a little bit more heavy on speed or tech, then depending on the team, they could have a little bit of a tougher time. So that'll definitely play a factor as well.
I think overall the qualifier results are kind of what we expected-ish. Obviously, there's a lot of discrepancy because of like how the middle seeds typically go. But I think that overall the countries are obviously more than qualified to play in this tournament and they have done their part. And I think it is just about time that we go to predictions. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, get your Twitter screenshots hot and ready because we're going to be going over all 8 matches in this prediction stream, and we will be joined by 2 more people in addition to the 3 of us. So we're going to be having Sad Shiba and this one guy. If you guys don't know them, they're also casters in 3WC as well as the World Cups. So we will be switching to that soon. And we're gonna probably get these ready to go. We're actually gonna be starting off with the first match on the schedule, which is match A1. That's South Korea versus Italy. Yeah, that's South Korea versus Italy, and that's at Sunday 12 UTC.
Hey,
So
Aaron,
let's
nice
start.
headphones.
What's that?
Yeah.
I said nice headphones.
Yo, thank
Oh
you.
my gosh.
Wait, are
That's
those wireless? I was actually curious because I didn't see any cable coming out of them. Are they wireless?
No, they're
Oh,
wired.
no.
Oh,
No.
okay. My
They're
bad.
not wireless.
We have
I
the,
don't
we have the
have
same
wi-
Your
headphones.
shirt,
They're
your
yeah, I
shirt
don't
was
have
literally
wireless-
disguising it, dude.
I don't have wireless anything. My headphones are wired, my keyboard, my mouse, everything. It's all wired. Anyway,
I
same.
I've got wireless headset and mouse, bro.
How's it
I'm
going?
chilling.
all right.
Yo.
Welcome to the desk, Shiba and T1G. Why don't you guys introduce yourself to the crowd?
Hi.
Hello. Do you want to go, Aaron, or do you want me to go?
Nope.
Shiba,
I'm
you're
doing
up,
something
buddy.
for my actual job while you're doing this.
It's okay, I can introduce
Alright.
him.
Yo, what's good? Hello, I'm Shiva. I'm a World Cup caster now, which is a cool thing to think about. I casted in the World Cup in 2023 for the first time. I'm very happy about that. I'm also casting in 3-digit World Cup. And I haven't been on Full Circle for ages. Last time I came on Full Circle, I didn't have this chain. I didn't have that. Well, yes, I did. I didn't have this air up bottle. That's pretty cool. No hashtag ad. And it's been a while, so I'm happy to be back and chilling.
Dio died.
I'm
Dio's
good.
Oh,
dead.
Dio's
okay.
alive?
He's
We got the
alive.
intro. We
No
got the
worries.
intro.
No
Yo,
worries.
died.
Hi guys, I'm T1G. I'm just doing some podcasting while I'm in retirement.
All right, Aaron, would you care to introduce yourself?
Do I need to introduce myself at this point? This is
It's
like
done.
Hey, I
Yes.
introduced
Yes,
myself
you will.
too. Come
I-
on.
Who
I-
is
man.
T1G?
It's part of the episode. Come on, dude.
Aaron, my grandma is watching Full Circle. Who is T1G? She asks.
T1G Osu. I commentate stuff. I host stuff. I have hosted this
He does
show
it
a
all.
lot in the past. I do a lot of Osu things. Currently hosting they're currently hosting Hippo Cup and commentating 3WC and whatever else is going on at the moment. Also a member of TCOM. There's a pretty badge on my profile now for TCOM, which is sick.
Yippee.
Same.
You also have a pretty badge.
Nice,
I do.
nice. Yeah, me and Dio have our nice gold badges for TCOM now. But I think
Wow,
mine
matching
are-
badges, matching headphones. You guys were a match in
That's
heaven.
crazy.
It's so true.
Damn.
Oh my goodness. Anyways,
Ah,
we are now here with the first prediction. South Korea versus Italy. My prediction, because I believe it's best of 11. So, which is actually, I actually need to remember because I'm reffing a match in like a few hours, but I'm pretty sure it's best of 11. So South Korea 6-0. That's my prediction. Done.
Is it on the sheet? It's not even on the sheet. What's the
It
best
is not
of,
on the
bro?
sheet. It's probably on the
It's
forum
11.
post somewhere.
It's on. It is on the forum post, and it is best.
Let me check announcements.
He just said
It
11.
is
I'm
11.
gonna
I
believe. I'm gonna
checked, I
believe
checked.
All
I
right, cool,
flame.
cool.
Yeah. It's best of 11.
6
Yeah,
South
I'm also
Korea.
gonna go 6-0 South Korea. Like, I don't know, man. They're the number 1 seed. They're number 1 by 8 bajillion points. Like, they have worst HR player Allegrissimo as a core roster. You have Amamiya Kokoro for tech. Like, do they even need 6 players to win this match? No, 6-0. Sorry, Italy. You have great players, but not as great as South Korea.
I've got a very bold prediction, and I'm gonna say
I'm ready.
6-0 South Korea.
Oh, so based.
Oh my
so
God,
based.
so
Incredible.
based.
So
Insane.
based. Like the only thing that gives Italy any room to do anything is early stage, and that's considering if Italy are on good form and South Korea are clowning around doing some tomfoolery while drunk and high. So in other words, like South Korea are 100% going to stomp. I don't really see anything like Hard Rock, maybe Arge, Hard Rock carry. That's it. That's literally that's all I can see. But South Korea have like 6 billion Arges on their team, so it doesn't really make a difference to me. Like South Korea, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this South Korea roster is actually the most just straight up broken roster that there's ever been in any iteration of
goodbye.
3WC.
Yeah.
I don't think any team has been like, here's just our OWC team minus like 1 person, and in 3WC, like the fact that worst HR player is in 3WC is absolutely messed up.
That's illegal. That's actually
Yeah,
illegal.
Worst HR
It's
player,
funny as hell.
arguably the
Yeah.
best tournament play in the
Dude.
world, playing in 3-digit World Cup.
Top
You
3.
can definitely make a case.
Top,
Top 3
I
for
mean, I
sure.
still wouldn't
You
put
can,
him above.
there's a lot of evidence to the contrary, but you can
I
make
would-
a case.
Yeah,
I would
Could.
I'd probably put the guy at the moment like top 3 tournament players.
Yeah, I still
in
would.
So
my
so
eyes, yeah.
Malashevsky and who else?
Malashevsky, I
Henry?
still wouldn't put him
Emrek.
above
Emrek
Emrek.
probably.
Yeah,
Emrek, yeah. I would
Um,
put like like top 4 in my list would, in no particular order, would be like Malashevsky, Emrek, worst HR player Henry, and then you can just
Yeah,
kind of shift them around
me
depending
too.
on the
Yeah.
skill set. And the fact that 3 of them can't play in 3WC it's already very telling as to
He's ranked
you know.
30. He's ranked 30. As soon as 3-digit World Cup fucking screening is done, he
went,
farms
like,
to rank
yeah.
30. Not
Yeah,
even like
it's-
80 or 70. 30, bro.
It's
Like-
actually just A21 4WC 2020 all over again.
It really is.
Wait, actually,
So
really
so
is.
true.
So
Funny as
real.
hell.
I
It's
would-
A21 4WC all over again, and the rest of the team could probably win the tournament without him anyway. So
Yeah.
And then you've got the
Yeah.
other side of the spectrum, like unrelated, but like TFGE and Cut Paper, who are 4 digits, so they can't play 3WC.
Oh yeah.
just not ranking up enough.
All right. So I guess we have South Korea for the board. Moving on
Yeah.
to the second match, we have Ukraine versus Finland at Sunday 14 UTC. Now, this is a hard matchup. I'm gonna be real with you, but okay, I don't want to start this actually. So we're gonna have you know what, Dia, why don't you start us off for this one? I don't want to start it.
Sure, I can start us off for this one. Why not? I feel like this is a really hard matchup to predict. You have a lot of really good mechanics players on the side of Ukraine. There are still lots of really good mechanics players on the side of Finland. I think a lot of like skill set matching is going to go on in this match. The Finnish roster doesn't have a lot of their like really good reading players and tech players, whereas you kind of have that on the side of Ukraine. But the Finnish roster also has slightly better mechanic scores on Nomad than the Ukrainian roster. I feel like this is probably just going to be Ukraine, though. I see better hard rock mechanics, better DT mechanics for Ukraine, and I see better like low AR, not necessarily like tech gimmick, but like low AR gimmick for Ukraine. I think it'll still be close, but I think this is like 6-3, 6-4 type of close match, not like 6-5 tiebreaker type of close match in favor of Ukraine, because I think with DT hard rock and the ability to like outperform on anti-mod or even the speed free mod, right? Put Curse on You is in the free mod pool this week. I think they're just going to have more options than the Finnish team, and so I think it's going to be Ukraine's win.
Yeah, I had Ukraine 6-3 as well. Same prediction. I mean, they basically have their OWC team who massively overperformed their seeding. I think they have a little bit more depth than Finland, and I think it could be close early rounds, but they do have a lot of similar skill sets as well, right? You know, you look at the DTs that both teams looked pretty solid on. The HDs were also solid for both teams. And I think if the skill sets differed a little bit, it would be much closer, but I would
Yeah.
have to say 6-3, maybe even 6-2, depending on performance on it. It could be anywhere from 6-2 to 6-4, but I'll take 6-3 if I have to pick one.
I love this because both of these teams are also known to be really good early stage tournament teams. From my experience seeing these teams, they're both very scary. I think Ukraine made a especially huge name for themselves in OWC, kind of being really, really cracked compared to their opponents. 3WC last year, I mean, they were very freakishly good. They made some crazy upsets. I feel like Finland have a deceptive edge on aim generally and on free mods. You've got Nev and Zeppe who are generally really consistent on kind of free moddy hard rock aim consistency generally, underrated on that. Amacetic is obviously going to be like a kind of major carry, but Ukraine just as a general roster, like having, hold on, is that fake Roman or real Roman? Just so I make sure I don't screw anything up. Is that real Roman or fake Roman?
That is the real one. That is an O.
Okay, yeah, real. Okay, having Roman, Raf, GPO, like both of them on the same team, they're going to be playing nearly every single map. Like they are an OP as fuck duo. And as Dio said, I think Ukraine just generally have a better core overall. I think Finland definitely have a good chance. I'm leaning a little bit more towards the 6-4, 6 tiebreaker. In favor of Ukraine. I love Finland, and I hope they win because I love this team. But as I'm sure if you already know if they watch predictions, I want Finland to win. But if you want like my genuine, honest thoughts, I think Ukraine are going to take it. If this was like a later stage, I might be leaning more towards Finland. But because it's
man,
early,
you had Ukraine
Yeah.
A tier, Finland B tier. Let's
Yeah.
chop.
I'm being honest. I'm being honest. Yeah,
believe in Ukraine.
I'm being honest. I'm being honest here. I love
Ukraine
Finland. I hope they do
believers,
it, but
Finland
Ukraine, I
believers.
think got it. Yeah.
I will also go Ukraine. I'll go Ukraine 6. I'll go 6-2. I'll go 6-2
6-2?
Ukraine. I'll go 6. I'll
Dang.
give
Damn,
it to
Kay.
them. I have faith in this and Ukraine. After what they pulled in OWC, I got some faith in this Ukrainian team. I'm going 6-2.
The least one-sided 8 versus 9 matchup. No, I'm pretty sure Ukraine just wins though. Like the US the OWC performance is like so telling, and I think they just turbo smurf everything that's mechanics against Finland based on qualifier results, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now that they're not the underdogs, it's just lost.
yeah,
for
right.
them.
They don't have the underdog story anymore. Now everybody's like, nah, Ukraine's so good, man. Now they don't have that buff anymore. No, I think they'll be fine though.
I think they'll be fine. We're going to be moving on to the next match. That is going to be Brazil versus Indonesia. That's at Saturday 15 UTC. And I'm going to be real honest. Based on their qualifier results, I'm going to put Brazil. Okay, I still think that maybe Brazil has some hiccups. So Brazil loses like 1 point. I'll go 6-1 Brazil.
I wish I knew who anybody on Indonesia's team was.
What? You don't
Those are
know
some
any of them?
crazy names.
Because no, it's because they're all
Yeah, it's
freaking.
all.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. The name.
they're
Okay, I
all
was confused for a
VTubers.
second. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. Okay,
VTubers,
okay.
VTubers.
I thought you meant as in you knew the names, but you didn't know who the
No.
players were. I was about to go
No,
crazy
I
for a
don't know who
second.
the names
Whoa.
are.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's Minefrost and
Skydiver
Delon. All right,
squared.
perfect. Also, double skydiver.
Skydiver
Yeah, double
squared.
skydiver,
That's
funny.
how they qualified the whole time. Skydiver
Oh,
just
well,
cloned
I think that's
himself.
just a
It's
typo, but
Skydiver
yeah.
twice.
Nah, Skydiver squared. They qualify.
Yeah,
Clearly.
I
literally.
actually
Like
don't
that's
know
why.
who Nazuna Amamiya is. I don't know who.
Nazuna Mamiya is
Minefrost? Oh, it's
ID,
Minefrost.
Minecraft ID. Yeah.
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 And then the other VTuber is Dylan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also going Brazil. I think this is Brazil like 6-1 or 6-0. This is a double ban low AR from Brazil, and then they win every map.
Yep.
And I think if they leave up the free mod 3, maybe Indonesia gets that point. But they definitely don't win mechanics. They don't win DT. They don't win hard rock. The only place where the results are like kind of close is the hidden pool, and that's it. So I don't have much faith in points for Indonesia. I think they can maybe take one on like the Nomad one, right? Classic low star rating stuff. Hey, let's pick Nomad one, Hard Rock one into the higher seeded team. So they can get points maybe, but it's gonna be a Brazil win.
Yeah, I'd completely agree. I think you covered pretty much everything I wanted to say about the matchup. I think Indonesia can probably find a point on something like the Headens or the Free Mods, but Brazil should be the better team. Everywhere else, they have the higher skill cap, should be more consistent. And so I'm going to go 6-1 as well.
I mean, their four-man roster just screws them even harder. Like, they got lucky to have qualified with a four-man roster, considering how experienced they are as a team. But considering it's bracket stage now, Brazil can abuse it even harder. Like, any strength Indonesia had, any minor strength Indonesia had into qualifiers with the team that they had is just destroyed. And Brazil can just completely destroy it. Like, and assuming this is under the assumption that Brazil are going to be motivated and are going to be able to play properly, their team is way too good. Like, even if it was 4v4, Brazil would win. Like, I don't know how Indonesia would be able to make it with their lack of flexibility here, especially in bracket where Brazil can just like Dio literally nailed my notes on the head. Like,
My bad.
I literally said Brazil, like Indonesia only better on hidden, Brazil ban hidden and reading GG. That's literally what I wrote on my notes as part of it. So yeah,
what's going
Brazil
on with Dio
100%.
stealing everybody's notes? He took mine too. I can't believe it.
Dio's just plagiarizing us. We're the real analysts, I flame for real.
Yo, my bad. You guys go first on the next one, okay?
We can go in
I
order.
can't steal the notes if I don't go first.
Yeah.
And then Dio
we can go
complains
to
that
Aaron. We can start with Aaron next
Ah,
one.
I don't want to start the next one. Next one's
Too bad.
scary.
Too bad.
Lucky.
Yeah, this is just Brazil though. They're just better. I don't know. Like nothing left to say at that point.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess
You'll
across
steal
the
your
board
notes too.
These screenshots are gonna go crazy, by the way. Like we're just picking
Yeah, we're
five.
just all
straight-
five going
the same
team. Oh,
everybody.
no.
Yeah.
True.
But the next match might be different. Okay, actually probably won't because we're gonna be
No.
going over Germany versus Poland, and that match will be Saturday 17 UTC. Yeah, Germany versus Poland. I
Okay,
don't.
I
I don't.
I have a question about Germany versus Poland. Has anyone ever heard of anybody on this Polish team other than Bartek? Raise your hand if you've heard of any of the other 5 players on this Polish team.
Hold on, I gotta look at their team again.
It's on your screen.
Yeah.
It's on the
I've
screen.
heard of the captain. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I've also heard of
I guess
Boric.
I
I've seen Boric. I've seen the captain. I don't know
Young
how to
Leoja
pronounce.
has played 3WC before, I think.
Yeah, I've seen young Leoja. I don't know the other two though. It's Pomidor 0033 and Tefek.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard of any of these people except Bartek, and I feel like
neither.
I've been paying relative attention to like most of the bigger tournaments over the last like year or so. So I don't know. Actually, Germany has like kind of a. I'm not saying they're unknown players, but they're like at this tier, other than Kriller, it's people who aren't like always seen at like the super top tier of tournaments. But
Shark plays tournaments,
I
right?
think-
yeah,
So does
they're
Flash.
like
Yeah.
they're like tournament players, but they're not on like the teams that are winning tournaments. You know what I mean? They're not
Germany-
on like the top tier teams. But I mean, Kriller just 1v9s these. I don't care. Kriller 1v9.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shit,
Kriller
yeah.
was number 3 in qualifiers for performance scores. The next player from Germany is number 45. Yeah, Kriller.
Kriller my goat, man.
It's
I fucking love
literally
that
just
guy.
Kriller. He's one of the best players in this range. Like one of the best tournament players. I mean, he's like one of the top tournament players in the world. Like that like next tier down from the absolute SS tier players. I would count him among them. That's yeah. That dude's
All right,
good.
so T1G. Start the vote.
No, I mean, I literally said Germany. Kriller 1v9 is me saying Germany.
What's the scoreline?
My bad.
What's the scoreline though,
like
Aaron?
6-2, 6-1.
Okay.
If I knew more about this Polish team, I might be able to say that they could win something. But like looking at their qualifier scores, like I'm just I'm whelmed, you know. Like their best qualifier score was DT1, and Germany beat that score by 500k. They did beat them on DT2 actually by like a lot. So I don't know. Maybe there's something to be said for that, but
I mean, I'm Germany has like crazy good tournament potential with this team. There are loads of really strong from I know solo players. Pear, Anroys, and the RS government, I've seen them all set some really good scores considering their ranks for solo. Flay as well is known to be a freak in like speed and mechanics. So if he manages to get flushed out as a good tournament player, as the theory is, if you start really good in solo and actually grind tournaments, you will eventually outshine your solo prowess. So I'm looking forward to what Germany do. I definitely underrated them in predictions, but comparing it to Poland, full of players who I genuinely have never seen outside of Bartek and Young Liuja, I'm going to probably put Germany as like a victory, probably 6-1, maybe 6-2 if Bartek can do an ultra carry, but Krilla can just suppress them on everything. So I don't really know what else to say outside of Germany win easy.
Yeah, I'm going to take Germany 6-1 as well. I mean, this is another matchup where the teams just have overlapping skill set. You guys mentioned the DT. Germany can just ban it a DT if they want to, and maybe Poland can take one. But outside of that, I don't see them doing much. They have Kriller, and they have Shark as well, two very good tournament players. And like you mentioned, they have some very strong solo players. I do feel like there's a little bit of a learning curve when we first initially see solo players starting to play more tournaments. So I don't expect any of them to be crazy tournament players right off the bat, but they're going to be more than strong enough to beat Poland pretty handily.
Yeah, I don't have too much else to say. I think it's just going to be probably a Germany win. The Polish team had kind of similar qualifier performances in terms of like what you expect from the players as the German roster had. You have one really, really good standout player in either Kriller or Bartek, and then you have the rest of the roster kind of just filling in on a variety of maps depending, but Germany just did it better. There's speed for Poland, but not too much else going on in comparison to Germany. So you have to give it to Germany on this one. We did see Poland beat them on the Hidden 2 as well, which was not the low approach rate hidden. That was what actual kind of map that was that? Oh yeah, that was the like flow aim finger control hidden. So maybe we see Poland roll into like a hidden gimmick with the hidden 1 this week, or into kind of other flow aim finger control type of stuff in the pool, like the Hard Rock 2. But that's again dependent on them being able to perform early stage. And as iFlame was talking about, usually when you are a player coming into tournaments relatively soon or relatively recently, there's a bit of a learning curve, and a lot of that has to do with consistency in match and not being nervous as hell in tournament. So I think that might be part of the issue for Poland during this tournament. And I think it's like very clear that there's a lot of just talent. How do I put this? Like nurturing talent going on this year for Poland. It seems like they already have a really good OWC team, so nurturing talent among some of the up and coming players, I think, is a good idea for tournaments like this.
Yeah, I think everything that kind of needed to be said has been said. And my pick is obviously for Germany. I will, however, give Poland credit in that they do have players that are, quite good. So I will give them the benefit of 6-3. I will give Poland I will give
Benefit
them
of
the
3
benefit.
whole points.
Such a
Let's go.
courtesy. One
I will
extra
give
map.
I will give them the benefit of 6-3. I was initially gonna say 6-1, but you know what? I'll give them a little bit. I'll give them 6-3, okay? I still don't know how to pronounce their captain's name. I apologize. But I mean, I'll be honest. Bartek isn't really that bad of a player, and T has proven that when he tries and when he can come to the match performing, he goes pretty well. So I will give them that. But we're gonna be moving on to that. So yes, we all across the board we have Germany winning. And we are going to be moving on to the next match, which is happening in like 2 hours. We have the United States versus Chile. Sat 1 UTC.
Yeah,
I
I'll
think
take
this
the
one can
first
be quick, no?
prediction.
Yeah,
6-0. Nothing else to say.
Chile, but USA 6-0 anyone across the board? Are we all in agreement?
Yeah,
Chile could get a
anyone
point.
disagree?
USA is known for like randomly dropping points.
They're known
early
for
stage in
trolling.
OWC, so I mean,
Yeah.
that could happen here too.
This is true.
Their team is very, very strong. I wish I'd been around for more discussions on this tournament, like before qualifiers, because there's like obviously 2 like super question marks on this team, and like we'll have to see how that turns out in especially like the late rounds of the bracket.
Yeah.
But early stage, it's just not going to matter. And if they can ease the newcomers in, then I think it'll be fine. You've got 4 players on this team with LWC first place badges. Like you're not really too concerned about much.
Yeah, I mean, I think Chile can maybe take a couple points. They have a really good hidden team, and they can, maybe make good on that in this matchup. But I don't know, USA is pretty good at hidden, and the best placement on any map for Chile in qualifiers was number 10.
Wait,
whereas,
really?
on that map where they got number 10, USA was number 1. So,
Yeah, USA's
bit of a tough
worst
matchup.
map placement was also number 9, so I don't know if I share your guys' confidence that they can put a point, but I appreciate you making it not all, 6-0 predictions.
USA's worst placement was 13th, actually, no mod 4.
Oh, I can't read,
yeah.
I guess. Okay.
Okay,
There you go.
they just banned that skill set, and then that's Chile's points
I
gone,
don't
right?
I don't actually know what no mod 4 in qualifiers was. What was no mod 4
It
in
was
qualifiers?
AR8 reading no mod.
Oh.
So they would ban, I guess,
Who's-
actually, there's another AR8.5 no mod.
Who's their
in the
third for
pool
those
this week.
kinds of maps, actually, with Taquito Bashi?
Well,
who fills
what,
like
okay,
every
more
balance
importantly, what do Razorfruit and Tallulah play? Because I
So-
have seen them before in tournaments, but I don't see them often enough to really make a solid judgment of what they
Tallulah
play.
plays
I
in
think
general.
they're both
Tallulah
mechanics
plays
players, aren't they?
speed.
Razorfruit's on aim,
Um,
Tallulah on speed.
Yeah, I think Razorfruit is solid at aim. I feel like just Caden for their low AR third.
Also,
Yeah, I think he's
wait,
drafted in.
Razorfruit was
Anyway.
in on Hidden 1 and No Mod 4 in qualifiers. Interesting. As well as whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, I
We'll see
mean,
how it
in my head, like I have hope that Chile could be able to pull a few points. Suntan's really, really good overall. I think one thing that's a little underrated is their tapping. I feel like Chile might actually be able to pull something out with Yuna and Gonza on their team. Floem as well. They actually could do something. But overall, like USA have such an oppressive team. Like I really don't know what you can do against them. It's less of what can USA lose on. It's more what Chile have a shot on or anything. And in my head, I like this Chile roster, but like USA are just too good. It's literally just a matter of USA being too good. They
Fine,
just went up
I'll
against
give
two different
Chile
teams.
1 point. We'll see in
I'm
2
thinking
hours. I'll give them 1 point.
I'm thinking 6-1, 6-2 at best. I have faith, but I don't think they'll win, unfortunately.
I will give them a very solid 6-1. I don't think I can give them a 6-2. All right. Thank you. Across the board, USA.
We're doing all the
6-1-ish.
across the boards here today.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because the
somehow.
next one will be another across the board because we have the Russian Federation versus Sweden. That match is going to be Saturday 13 UTC, a little bit of an early match. Yeah, Russia 6-1.
Really?
Mm,
I don't agree. I think this is like relatively close. Russia played worse than I thought they would, and Sweden played better than I thought they would.
I think Russia gets their shit together for the match, unironically. So I'll give it to Russia 6-2.
Russia never loses early rounds in country-based tournaments. You guys have to remember this. When was the last time a Russia team didn't get to like?
I mean, I didn't say I was voting for Sweden. I said it'd be closer
That's
than
what I was about to
6-2.
say.
I might not be voting for Sweden, but it's definitely closer than 6-2. Like,
I mean,
I don't know. I mean, we saw Sweden hard
It's-
overperform their seeding in OWC, right? They were like seed 23 in the top 12 in OWC. If they can top 12 OWC with much worse competition, much better competition, surely they could put up a really good match against Russia here. But just as in OWC, if they do overperform seeding, I think it's probably going to be through losers bracket. They lost their, I think, first match in OWC and then loser bracketed their way to top 12. I think it's probably going to be the same here. I'd go like 6-4.
Yeah, Sweden's World Cup run was
Okay.
crazy.
Also,
Sweden's
like,
World Cup run was kind of
was.
sick considering their roster. Yeah, they were really good.
Worth noting, kind of interesting. Scylla got 4th place
Scylla?
overall.
It's Skilla.
Yeah, that guy's good.
Yeah,
I've never.
Scylla's
okay,
sick.
Scylla.
He
But
Scylla
doesn't
is
care which one
okay.
it is.
and then Russia got 6th and
Oh.
7th with Scroll and Duske. Who's the next best player from either of these teams? Who's the next
It's
best player
Ru-
from Sweden in qualifiers? Because
It's going to be
down
Dan.
quite
No.
a ways.
That's
It's,
pretty good.
It's
Spinks.
Spinks.
Spinks is the next best player, which I saw coming. Yeah, I think Skilla and Spinks are going to be the main carries. Yagako also improved quite a bit. I don't think he
Don't
performed.
sleep on Trumpetino, dog.
I don't know
Trumpetino.
Trumpetino. I haven't seen him. I don't know who he
Trumpetino,
is.
I I'm kind of looking through rose-colored lenses, I guess, because I saw him pretty
Trumpetino got
frequently
111th in
in
qualifiers.
Sweden Cup. No, I saw him in Sweden Cup, so I think he's less of a core member and more like a fill member for like things that Skilla won't automatically be a shoe in for like Jugeko or like Late Wine. I still think that he's a great player, and I'm pretty sure it was Chiv who was shilling him at one point in time. I don't remember when it was, but it definitely at one point in time. But I also kind of have dementia about it, so take what I say with a grain of salt.
From what I can see, Trumpetino's a solid double time player. He got a solid score on overall for Sweden on the mechanics maps, which is good.
Yeah, but if you pick speed into the Russian roster, good
Yeah.
morning, Din.
Yeah,
Hello,
literally.
GM.
The thing is, with Russia on top of that, they've got two of the most OP fucking like rounded players in the tournament. Like Squirrel and Sigi are going to destroy it on nearly everything. You've got Skella, who's cracked. He might be able to contest one of them, but I don't know anyone else from Sweden who can contest the other. You've also got Handsome Me and Desuke, who can play loads of stuff. Din can suppress Trumpetino and mechanics. I think Sweden have a chance of Skilla carries, or maybe they'll win on free mods. That's potential. So I'm gonna say like Sweden 6-2, but that's the most I'll give them, honestly.
You're saying Sweden 6-2?
Oh no. Sorry. No. Russia 6-2. Sorry. No, I'm not deluded. Russia 6-2. Sweden have like a shot on getting like 2 maps.
Okay,
In that
okay.
case, I might be a little bit deluded. I'm gonna take Sweden.
Oh my
Don't.
goodness.
I'm taking
No, you're doing
Sweden.
this. You're doing this for the all-rounder streak breaking. All right, you're not.
No, I have. You can. I can send you.
I mean,
my
I think it's
notes
going to be
after the
close. I don't
stream.
think voting Sweden
I-
is unreasonable.
Yeah, I wrote down in my notes Sweden 6-5 before the episode started.
Alright, prove it.
I actually
Send
will.
us the
I'll
screenshot,
send
send me the
you. I will
screenshot.
send you.
Dude, you're gonna
screenshots
be
after the episode.
you're gonna be a hometown hero if this country wins against Russia.
Look, Sweden have very clear skill sets that they're better at. I think Sweden is probably going to take the hiddens. Russia will probably take the hard rocks. The DTs are pretty contested overall. I obviously speed is going to be Russia favored, but outside of that, I don't think the other DTs are that Russia favored, especially this early on in the tournament. Sweden has been very solid. We saw how well they did in OWC, and I do actually think Sweden is probably the better team at the low AR no mod as well as probably the alt no mod. So I think they're going to be able to take this one. You guys just have no faith in Skilla.
I
I mean,
respect
just
you,
looking at
iFlame,
the
but damn.
just looking at the qualifier results, it seems like the Nomad mechanics, Nomad 1 and Nomad 3 in qualifiers. By the way, Nomad 3 was Critical Cannonball. That was the stream map in qualifiers. Not top diff. Also, it was second top diff, slightly more streamy, a little bit less flame. They beat Russia on both of those. Russia is winning the Nomad 2, which was like swing finger control alt, and the Nomad 4, which was Nomad reading. Russia is winning both hiddens, but the hard rocks are Sweden favored at best, contested at worst, and the DTs are both contested. So like, with actually the speed DT going the way of Sweden in qualifiers, like this team can beat Russia on tapping.
I still believe in them. It's
I don't know,
okay. I
like,
believe in my boys.
It's gonna be close regardless.
Yeah.
It's gonna be close.
We will see. Well, actually, I think I'm roughing that match tomorrow too. At a nice solid 13 UTC. Thank you. And then iFlame. So I guess across the board. Sorry, we have 4 people for Russia, and then we have iFlame in the middle, parting the votes like the Red Sea, as they say, with Sweden. Actually, if Sweden wins on Saturday, you're gonna be hailed as a hero, bro. This is gonna be an insane screenshot.
That's what I said. You're gonna get hailed as a legend on Full Circle.
Oh
For
yeah,
real.
absolutely.
And
next
then if
match,
they don't,
and then
pretend
next
it
week,
never
and then
happened.
next episode, you're gonna come on, and we're gonna do a recap of round of 16, and it's gonna fucking flaunt that shit everywhere. Be like, I voted Sweden. Okay. We're gonna move on to the next match. That is gonna be Hong Kong versus France. That's gonna be Sunday, 14 UTC.
Man.
Okay, I'll start. I think it's gonna be close. I think this one's gonna be close.
Aw.
I honestly think it's gonna be close because this weekend is Lunar New Year. All right. So
What?
most team,
Yeah,
right,
everyone knows
right.
that France plays better when it's a full moon, guys.
Oh my god.
My God. No, but this
Unreal.
weekend is Lunar New Year, so it makes me think that Hong Kong, like, is probably recovering from the celebration. So it makes me, even despite Suwagi being in the United Kingdom, it doesn't matter, right? So I think that Hong Kong does win, but I think the scoreline goes 6-4. That's my prediction.
Wow.
So, solely because of the fact that it's Lunar New Year this weekend.
Look, I know Subaru's watching this. I'm sorry, King. This team just gives me like anxiety every time I see France, because their team is so good on paper. Like literally, their team is so good on paper, but they get seed 14th in qualifiers. How do they do that? This team could have got so much higher in quals. And so
France.
now, yeah, I know exactly,
Yeah,
right?
France
That's
and World Cups.
that's the schizo annoying thing about this team is that I can't predict in their favor. Their team is so good, but they always disappoint every time I want them to do well. I
It feels
can't
like
do
you're
anything else
suffering from
about
the
it.
DO
I
OWC
am.
Chile syndrome.
I'm
Yeah.
suffering here because every single time I've seen France with their rosters, their teams are always so good and they always underperform to what I think they can do. Like I love this team and I think on paper they're great players, but if they can't in bracket in match perform, then they're just going to do the usual. So it's like if I'm going to assume what I've expected them previously, Hong Kong are going to stomp. They're going to destroy. Like France, if I was analyzing these players purely on paper and not on what I've seen, then France can make this close. This could be like a 6-4 match. But Hong Kong, first off, are generally a great experienced tournament team. They've got a full World Cup roster, excluding, I guess, like you can include Suwagi, bro. He's well over World Cup caliber border. He's literally well ahead. He's one of the best in the world. But yeah, I just think Hong Kong overall are going to get it in terms of tournament history and experiences, and based on roster. Could have been close if I didn't know how sad France have been disappointing me recently. But yeah, I'm going to predict Hong Kong sweep 6-0.
Okay, a sweep 6. Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, like, where's Okoro, by the way?
No Okoro.
Why is Okoro
No,
not playing? Like,
Well, he
he
hasn't
would
been
be
playing
Mm.
tournaments at all recently,
We
right?
that's
definitely
true.
at
give them a
OWC,
big
He hasn't been
boost.
playing at all.
No.
That one doesn't count. Everybody plays OWC.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. Imagine if France had Okoro. France just does this every year, though, right? Like in so many international tournaments, they just randomly underperform when they shouldn't. And then
Yeah,
Hong
he's
Kong
out playing Puyo Puyo Tetris actually.
Hong Kong
That's
just
actually what he's doing. He's playing
Hong Kong
Tetris
just runs them
tournaments.
over, while Okoro's off playing Tetris and enjoying life, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't got much else to say. Like Hong Kong
Yeah.
is a previous winner of 3-digit World Cup. They come in every year trying to win. France is not a previous winner of 3-digit World Cup. This is a roster that we expected to be top 12, and they underseeded qualifiers. So their matchup is even worse. It's Hong Kong.
Yeah, I can't say I'm a Francie. Unlike Shiba, every time France has a matchup that's close on paper, I predict against them. And so far, it's worked out very well for me so far.
100% success
And
rate.
so I'm not going to predict them here, where they are pretty heavily outmatched by Hong Kong. I will give them a couple of points because, especially in the early rounds, they do have a strong enough roster that they should be able to get at least one. But I would say 6-2 Hong Kong.
Aaron,
I
thoughts?
mean,
He already predicted.
I already said
Oh,
Hong
did
Kong.
he? All right.
We're done.
wasn't
Hong
really-
Kong.
there wasn't
Are we
really
done?
much
Oh, we're
about
good.
that.
Okay.
5 Hong
All
Kong.
right.
Well, yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah, man, God, if this
We're
is
just
the
5-0
one
everything.
time, if this is the one time I get clowned on Twitter, I'll be happy. All right, just please clown me. Please
This is no.
prove me wrong.
This is the reverse
Like,
psychology strat, right? It's like
I
Shiba
hope
votes
so.
for Hong Kong so that when France wins, they screenshot this, right? It's like
I
when
hope
Hong Kong.
so.
Who was it? It was
Please.
last year. It was last year when Hong Kong did the same thing to us when we voted against them, I think, for the United States for 3WC last year, and then they won against South Korea in Grand, and then they screenshot it and posted it on Twitter. It's like it's the reverse psychology, dog, right?
Yeah, please. If this is the one time I get clowned on Twitter, please be this time. This is the one time I want to get clowned on Twitter. Just do it, please.
Let's
And
see,
we
Shiba,
have
I can- Okay.
Go
No,
ahead,
you,
go
you go
ahead.
ahead.
Okay. I was just gonna move on to the next match, but we're gonna round off this stage with the last match of the weekend on which is gonna be Sunday 16 UTC. The Philippines versus Canada. Now I'm gonna let the Canadians go first. I flame, would you start us off, please?
I would love to. In terms of pick'em points and prediction accuracy, this is probably not my best bet. But, in OWC, you just had to have faith, and they beat the US. The first time the US got dropped to the losers bracket before the last round in OWC history. And so I'm just going to have faith again. I'll take Canada 6-5. They can win some DTs. I don't know. They can
No, I
launch
got
some
you with the
DDoS
juice.
attack.
Don't worry. I will
All right,
also go
thanks, Theo.
Canada,
He
and
has
I got you with the
the
juice here. All
He's
right,
got-
he's
I-
Marwin
that's
too
a-
slow,
that's a
crazy
fact.
DT aim player, super good, easy player as of recent. He's actually been on the easy grind. There's
Oh, I've
3 low
seen
AR
that. That's
maps in this
nuts.
pool, and Marwin is about to fuck all of them up with the easy practice grind.
I mean, the whole pool
Pikapone,
is just
one of the
too easy.
just great all rounder, gonna be in for every map. Like actually, really solid players. Sorry, one of the best aim players that you can have in 3-digit World Cup. Spicy is the up ranker of all time. Started in like 2025 and is already 3-digit. And has been doing tons of map pool replays for tons of high rank tournaments, like getting the experience before even going into tournament. And then of course Gender Bender, great username. And also actually a really good player, like also a very good all-rounder. I think will be in for a lot of maps. So, I mean, the roster is there, right? I talked
It is,
earlier, they're
and
not OWC players, but this is still a pretty good roster, and they've got very good mechanics players on this team. They beat Philippines actually in multiple maps. Looking at the qualifier results, they had better results on the Hidden 2, the Hard Rock 2, and the DT 2. So, they got options. They got options. That's 3 maps, 3 different skill sets they win on.
and
All
dude,
right,
you
that's
didn't
huge.
even mention they have Cut Paper, who's gonna solo carry them. They've
That's
got the
true.
strong
That's
core
so
in
true.
Ryuke, Xylase, and Ryuke, and
Uh,
what tournament are we?
Can I ask
Yeah.
what an up ranker is? Like, isn't that just somebody who's like getting PP?
Who farms a lot?
Why do
I
we
guess?
need the
Yeah.
word
I don't know.
up
It's
Yeah,
a
this is
guy
not.
climbing the global
What does that even
leaderboards. This
mean?
one
This
guy.
is not a word that we're gonna.
I
goodness,
oh
would
goodness
like
me.
it if that word is
It's a
never
new
used
dictionary.
again.
It's a dictionary entry now. Up ranker.
Is it
Somebody
actually?
who gains
Oh, no.
PP.
It's
That
yeah, like
is not a
somebody who
dictionary
farms
entry.
PP. Now we have to
No.
call them an up ranker.
All right. Unironically, though, Spicy joined April 2021 and was top 160 by September 2023, and also has 2 winning tournament badges from.
Are
I've
they
been playing-
okay? But
I-
are
Wait,
they
he started
Canada
after
region
me, what the
restricted
hell?
tournaments for both of them?
No, they are ADS Division 1 and Pundus Fall Sweegie Cup.
Wait, I don't even remember that he
Wait,
won
so
and
a
I
draft
hosted it.
tournament and a Sweegie tournament. All right, that's just as bad.
It's not quite as bad
that's
as
kind of-
Canada. Look, we're not talking about like. We're not talking about Canada Sweegie tournament here, right? Like this is not a Canada Sweegie tournament
Listen,
badge.
Canada
Those are real
Sweegie
badges.
tournaments are some of the most prestigious badges out there. I don't know what you
That's
guys are
real.
on about.
I would
That's
trade
real.
all
My
of
Canadian-
my badges.
Yeah,
for
I would like
four
one
Emerson
Canadian
badges.
Draft Cup Division 2 badge, please. Thank you.
Guys, one of the only 6 digits that got a badge came from the Canadian Draft Cup, and it was incredible.
All right.
All right.
I
Anyway,
have no words for that.
You know
I
what?
have no words for that.
I think I'm convinced. I think with the amount of shilling that
Oh
Dio
my
and I played them,
God.
don't be convinced. No,
No, you
vote for
don't.
Philippines.
No.
Stop being
What
convinced.
Yeah, don't-
This is a
don't-
Canada only vote, okay?
You can't
Fine,
have a
fine,
majority
my bad.
Canada.
Fine, I'll go Philippines.
is-
I'll go Philippines. My bad.
All right,
Look
we're
at this!
safe.
Look at this! Look at this guy trying to
Sorry, I'm
farm off the
sorry.
Canadian train.
I'll go
Aye, aye, aye.
Philippines, but I'll give Canada some points. I'll go 6-8 Philippines.
Can only shill so hard.
Look,
Yeah.
I mean, first off, Hyok, the ultimate, the ultimate up ranker, as you can see,
How about
rank
we
90.
just
Oh my
Um,
god. All right.
can we not?
Oh,
Can we
no.
please not? Like, can we just No.
Okay, first off, Hyuk Supremacy. He's literally one of the best players in the tournament. He's going to carry literally everything. Sorry, the preview says thanks for watching.
Yeah, we're not
And
done
that's
yet.
it. We're not done yet.
Cavo has decided it's time for the show to end, even though we're not done yet.
Imposter, Kagano, Mio Milo, Nathan Ram, Ramu, great roster.
Yeah, this Philippines roster is crazy good. Hyuk and Nathan Ram are going to play everything. Kagano, Ramu are sick. They're good old veterans. Imposter, Mio Milo also great. Canada do have like some decent players that we've seen in the past do really well. Genderbedder, Pikapone are really, really good. Sari is great. Spicy's obviously that little Canadian prodigy who everyone's excited to like kind of see pop off. But I think when you compare their strengths as a country compared to Philippines, they're just better, man. I'm sorry. Like Philippines are kind of an obvious win here. Hyuk and Nathan Ram are so OP. They proved it in the OS World Cup. Nathan Ram was always known to be quite good for the last few years. Hyuk was like a prodigy, I believe, in like 2021. People loved the guy in 2021. Is that correct? Was it 2021 or was it 2020? I don't remember.
Before he went military, so it would have been
like before military.
I think.
Ago.
Yeah, 2020. Hyuk was really good back then, and he literally returned from military after like a year and a half, 2 years. Like literally nothing ever happened, and he's like insanely good. He played crazy in OWC. So I can't wait. I think Philippines are gonna do really well on this. I'm gonna give it 6-2 in favor of Philippines. I think Canada have like a chance on a couple maps. Fremont in particular, I think they're gonna do really well on Canada. But that's all I can really give them. So I'm going to do 6-2 Philippines.
Yeah. I don't think Canada has a way to beat Hyuk Nathan Ram +1, unfortunately, over the course of an entire match. They'll win points. Like, this is a competitive match. But I don't really see a world where Canada can overcome, like, whatever they, those 2 plus whoever the third is for enough maps to win a best of 11. I think this is like 6-3, 6-4 territory. I think this is definitely a match that can be close. But I'm not adequately convinced by Canada, and I am very convinced by Hyuk and Nathan Ram and how well the Philippines played in general in OWC. If they can keep up anything approaching that level of performance, I think they win this. And I'm actually kind of surprised that they only seeded 6th. Like, they seeded behind Brazil and Germany. I know those 3 were pretty closely clustered, as well as Russia, within a few points of each other. But yeah, this Philippines roster, to me on paper, is very, very strong, and I expect them to win this match. It'll be tight, but I expect them to win this match.
All right, so we have it. We have the Canadians voting for Canada, and we have everybody else voting for the Philippines.
Okay, sitting there pretending she's Canadian. SMH.
That's what it's a hard C sound. Canada, K, right? Like right? So it kind of counts, right? I
don't think that's how it works, but
I mean, my name ends in an A. Does that mean I'm Canadian, guys?
A?
Yes.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Which means you have to predict
That's
Canada.
it. Canada 6-0. It's over, guys.
Alright.
Zuni Native will carry. I love this game.
Anyways, that is our stage predictions for this weekend. First match is 3WC at Saturday 1 UTC. That is in about an hour and a half. Go check them out. This has been Full Circle. I've been Kay. Thank you to everyone that has been on this episode. Thank you to Cal for streaming, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
See you.